It's the first day of school, and it's my first day of in-person classes.
It's dropping in high vaccination and booster rates on campus. The interim president says it's time to find a way to just live and learn and work with COVID.
36,000 students and 4,000 teachers and staff will be coming onto campus in some fashion, making it one of the largest concentrations of people in the South Bay.
In person, this is for the first time this year.
Hard to believe, but here we go.
Since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, students have had to cope with a fully online learning experience, away from classmates, away from teachers, and away from campus. Faculty have had to learn new teaching methods to accommodate their students in the Zoom classroom. They've set up virtual office hours and extended deadlines to ease the strain of the virus on students' day-to-day lives. 2 years later, and we're still adjusting. But hope is on the horizon. After a thorough vaccination campaign and a serious strain on our healthcare system, cases were beginning to fall, and colleges around the country started sharing a hopeful vision of a return to pre-pandemic conditions. San Jose State University was no different, and before the start of the spring semester in 2022, they started making promises for a return to campus and a move back to in-person classes. However, another wave of cases swept the country, and suddenly things weren't so sure anymore. The school compromised and ended up with a slow transition from completely remote learning in the first few weeks, and then finally back to hybrid and in-person course systems. The stuttering and uncertain transition left many students, faculty, and campus staff frustrated, concerned, and struggling to prepare for the unknown. Those of us in the Applied Anthropology program were no different. However, as we thought about our return to campus and our first semester of in-person learning, some of us were thinking about a different group of students. We felt sympathy towards new and returning students just starting their college careers without the experience and knowledge of a pre-pandemic college experience. Second and third year students fumbling their way around campus like freshmen, faculty discovering the rush hour traffic for the first time, and staff dealing with the resurgence of facility usage for the first time in 2 years. A torrent of new and troubling experiences rushed to the forefront of our imagination. When we were assigned a project to explore students' experiences with space upon returning to campus, our team had the perfect opportunity to see if our fears for our peers were justified. To narrow our focus, we decided to ask questions about the experience of returning to in-person classes for undergraduate students and faculty, letting us focus our time and resources on a more specific set of research questions. We wanted to know how prepared students felt for their transition to on-campus learning, and what resources they were using in their preparations.
We have in-person classes and virtual classes, but every SJSU student is required to be vaccinated. We have to wear masks at all times. I'm currently taking 14 units, which is the least amount of units I've ever taken. I wanted to cut back on the amount of classes I'm taking because I just stressed myself out too much.
To answer our questions, we decided an exploratory ethnographic study would allow us to gain insight into the unique experience of learning in this uncertain period. We utilized a Google survey to determine what factors and resources have been contributing to student preparedness, and then interviewed some students for details. We managed to collect around 30 survey responses and conduct 5 in-depth interviews for analysis. In this analysis, we looked for patterns that orbited the topic of preparedness and told us what resources our participants are using to prepare for in-person classes. Our work has revealed several potentially critical themes about how people are reacting to the efforts of SJSU to return to campus in a form of life that resembles the pre-pandemic landscape. We found that a majority of our participants are relying on their friends and family to prepare for their return to in-person classes, and that they are not using the on-campus resources, such as the Wellness Center, counseling, and tutoring. This finding was expounded upon by our interviews that revealed a surprising amount of frustration with the resources on campus. One participant remarking,
resources on campus need to find better ways of marketing themselves and promoting what they can provide students. The student health center was not helpful. 2 times they made my symptoms worse.
Another participant had this to say about on-campus resources.
What was weird was the resources were very good during orientation, but after school started, we were left alone. I have not had the best experience with resources. They suck. Once I was able to meet people, I could see how they were navigating the transition. It was very helpful.
It seems clear to us that the resources SJSU is providing their students are not meeting their full potential, whether that is in their effectiveness or in their awareness strategies. In response to this finding, we would recommend a few things to SJSU's resource centers. That they engage in a more thorough campaign, advertising their services so that students are made aware of the resources available to them. The resource centers on campus, and especially the Wellness Center, should have an internal review of their services to measure the effectiveness of delivery or treatment. Finally, another study should be conducted to find out what services students are using on campus that they find satisfactory, to copy effective strategies and build upon their strengths. As we've already mentioned, our participants responded with an incredibly high frequency that they used their friends and family as resources for preparing to return to campus. One hurdle that people at SJSU face in building and maintaining a community to support their campus life is the issue of housing. San Jose is no stranger to the housing crisis sweeping the nation, as many find it difficult to live in urban centers due to rising costs in housing, from rent and utilities to gas for commuting into the city center. Taking this specific struggle into consideration, we think the university might benefit from taking a more proactive role in providing housing in more than just dorms. Working with the city, it might be possible for the university to combine their resources with the Urban Planning Division of San Jose to plan an affordable housing project that could house not just students, but faculty and staff as well. The city would have more resources and a push from a respected institution, and the university would gain housing and potential projects for urban planning, architecture, and other various departments. The housing could offload some of the strain on the housing market in the city by moving some of the incoming people to a specific location made to house them. Students and staff would feel more comfortable moving to come to the city if they knew they had a greater chance of finding housing near the university. In creating housing for those that engage in campus life at SJSU, the university would create an environment on and off campus that encourages interaction between its constituents. In order to reach this lofty goal, further research would have to be conducted, and much preemptive work would have to be done to see if such a project is sustainable for the university and the city. We are, however, hopeful that it shows you the type of solutions that can enhance the community experience at SJSU and allow for people to create stronger bonds between friends and family that help them prepare for future uncertainties.